watching Leopard Spotlight.
Welcome everyone to the 4th edition of Leopard Spotlight for the 2020-2021 school year. I'm Christian Giordano.
And I'm Lee Kennebrew. In this edition, a junior turns a craft into a business, a student goes viral with a unique message, and later in this edition we share a Valentine's special. But first, we take a look at a Lovejoy Star.
And then I started imagining what I'd do if this was happening in real life.
By the time I was 6, I was auditioning for commercials and doing a lot of modeling at that age, and then I started getting a little bit more into acting.
While most middle schoolers enjoy watching movies with friends, 8th grader Ashlyn Casaleño prefers to be the one on screen. After nearly a decade of acting and modeling experience, she continues to perfect her craft.
From a really young age I started acting. I really wanted to be like my brother in a way because he's an actor. And I started taking some lessons, doing some practice and training, and I got pretty good, so I started doing like auditions and self-tapes and stuff. In a way, I really just kind of wanted to be like him, and he helps me a lot with acting and my tapes and stuff. And I landed a movie called Logan, the Wolverine movie, and that's my most recent one.
Casaleño reflects on the difficulties of balancing her acting career with her education.
It becomes difficult to pull out of school if you need to be at an audition. Before COVID, there was mostly live auditions, and it's just a delicate balance.
Rejection is never easy to accept, yet in the acting business, it's all too common.
We set up all of our cameras, do all of our stuff, and we have to memorize our lines and perfect the scene, get into our character a lot, and then we'll record it and see if it's good or not and send it in.
It's like kind of almost like winning the lottery, the same kind of odds. It's more rejection than it is, booking. So it's like 100 or 200 auditions for every one you actually book. So the main thing is I just always want her to do her best.
I think the goal would be to be the person that you would want to do a movie with. I wanted to do a movie with Hugh Jackman. I would want to be the person that people want to do the movie with.
This is Cheney Kelly with John Falco and Justin Lewis, reporting for the Lovejoy News Network.
Unexpected success through social media sparked this junior's thriving business.
Junior Sydney Simpkins and her mom, Camille Simpkins, are surprised to discover an overwhelming amount of positive feedback and demand for a niche project Sydney thought would be a one-time thing.
I didn't really plan it. It was kind of like a spur-of-the-moment thing. One of my mom's friends asked where she could get a board, and I'd made one 2 weeks before. So my mom was like, "Hey, Sydney can make one for you." So I made one for her, and she posted it on her Facebook, and a bunch of other parents and people wanted ones too. So that's kind of how it got started. It was kind of scary because I hadn't really had it all planned out yet. So it's definitely gotten a lot easier with time because I have spreadsheets and budgets and all that stuff, and I know kind of where to get everything and kind of have a routine. So it's a lot easier now than it was before.
As a young entrepreneur, Sydney encounters many difficulties during the creation of her new business and needs to find creative solutions to these challenges.
I've seen her grow, more responsible. I've helped her some with the bookkeeping side of things, but she's owning it a whole lot more now, and really learning that it's in running a business, you've got to make sure you know what your spend is, you've got to make sure you know what the revenue is so that you can figure out what your profits are. She's become more responsible and having to manage her time well, so definitely seen growth. Yeah.
With the countless hours running a business takes, Sydney finds motivation in satisfying her customers to keep her working hard.
Seeing other people be super pleased with what her product is and having people ooh and ah about just how happy their party goers were, or how happy their guests were, or how happy their family was to be able to partake in such a beautiful board. Just happy to encourage a young lady grow a business. It's been surprising to me how many entrepreneurial women have come out of the woodworks just to support her and purposely come to purchase the boards from her because they're really excited to support a teenager who's growing their business, and as a woman as well.
Food boards are not a new product in the market, but Sydney puts her own unique spin on this established idea, giving her business a distinctive flair.
All the produce and ingredients that I use are all organic, non-GMO, nitrate free, because that's just like something that we do in our family. So delivering like quality ingredients and products to my customers.
Sydney's mom has not only taught her daughter about running a business, but about herself and her goals for the future.
To see her think through just the rudimentary processes involved in running a business, and learning that running any business, all it takes is being creative. So really seeing her being able to use this model and even replicate it in something else, if that's what she chooses to do.
This is Carter Lewis and Noah Nadeau, Annabeth Smith reporting for the Lovejoy News Network.
A Lovejoy Jr. shares her faith through a newly created podcast. Jake, Christian, and George are all ears for the story.
Hey guys, welcome back to Our Hearts Surrendered. My name is Addison and I'm one of the co-hosts of this podcast.
A Lovejoy Jr., Addison Wimbish, has recently created a podcast discussing a multitude of topics involved in faith.
So it's called Our Hearts Surrendered, and it's about living in wholehearted surrender to God in various topics and aspects surrounding Christianity.
Addison's longtime blog has recently found a larger audience using a new form of media.
I had been writing for a blog every week for a while now, about 2 years, and I was just ready to take another step and wasn't sure what that was, but people kept approaching me about starting like a podcast with like no intentions whatsoever, and I just kind of decided to try it on a whim.
Sophie Bellew, a friend of Addison's, was inspired by Addison's blog, and the pair decided to collaborate on a project together.
I had confronted Addie about starting a blog because Addie had a blog called Broken Vessels, and I was really encouraged by her faith, and I wanted to start my own blog. And then Addie asked me if we wanted to start a podcast together instead of doing two separate blogs, and we just got started from there.
Addison and Sophie have grown closer as friends since starting the podcast together.
I met Addie at church 2 years ago, and we'd been kind of mutual friends. We were in the same friend group, and I knew Addie pretty well, but it wasn't until June that we kind of started talking about our podcast, and then after that we became really close friends.
Every week the pair covers a new topic ranging from patience to spiritual habits to internal struggles.
We do a new episode, like a new topic every week, but we've covered everything from social media, anxieties, just lighthearted things and testimonies, and we've done a lot of interviews recently. We talk about control. We talk a lot about just our faith and how we can surrender to God every day.
Their podcast has found success with thousands of total listeners so far, and more to follow every week.
I would say about 75 to 100. Our interviews get about 100 to 200, but we've hit about 3.5 thousand total.
Addison is planning to continue the podcast every week, but is unsure of what the future holds for her and Sophie. This is Jake Picarillo, Christian Giordano, and George Burris with the Lovejoy News Network.
There are hundreds of teachers and staff in the Lovejoy School District, and a few of them share their Lovejoy Valentine with us. Aiden, Nolan, and Connor share a special Valentine's Day feature.
In the Lovejoy School District, there are many married teaching couples. As we near Valentine's Day, Aiden, Nolan, and I interviewed 4 of them to learn more about their everyday lives.
When did you meet?
We met in 2008, the fall of 2008.
I was 15 and he was 16 at church camp.
We met in 2002.
May of 2003. I was just about to graduate from college and he had a position open. So I interviewed to work with him and I actually got the job. So we worked together.
How did you meet?
Well, he was really good friends with my best friend and my roommate. and they came over to our apartment to set up a futon. But I was on my way out the door to meet somebody else.
to meet a baseball player.
We were both campers at a church camp in the summer.
Camp Deer Run.
We met through friends at a party that they were having at their house. It was a swim party.
And he would come in to study in the library. And at the beginning, when we first started talking and I was getting to know him, he sat at the table like as far away from my desk as you could get. And the more we got to know each other and the more we liked each other, his study table moved closer and closer to then when we started dating, he was sitting right across from my desk where I was working in the library.
Which, in those situations, so much studying is done.
We actually met playing a game on the first night because it was a game where you move around and get to know people. And I saw him standing in the circle and I wanted to stand by him and find out his name. The game was called Zip Zap, but that's when we met.
Do y'all share any funny teaching stories together?
He was out teaching an orchestra, and I was actually doing grading or something in the office, and I could hear him out there. He had like a box of Oreo cookies, and he was trying to get the kids to play so many times correctly, and if they did it, they were all going to get an Oreo, but every time they played it wrong, he would eat the Oreos. So by the time it was time to give them all Oreos, he didn't have enough because he had already eaten them all.
What is your favorite thing about your partner?
I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead.
There are so many things I love about Kevin, but probably the biggest thing is because he's so compassionate and he's really caring and loves kids.
I would say that for her, she sees the positive in everybody that I don't always see.
I've always liked her looks. I've always liked how smart she is, which was kind of hard with us both being math teachers. She always made better grades than I did, but I admired that anyway.
He was a leader. We were campers, and he was a leader of his cabin, and he was, and he's kind. He's so kind. And you know what? He's a really good teacher, and that's why I made better grades in our college math courses than he did, because he would teach me how to do the problems, and then I would outscore him on the test.
Not only is she an amazing teacher, she's an amazing mom, amazing wife. She's a world-class musician, violinist, and she's probably the kindest person I've ever met. So that's my favorite thing about her.
He knows how to make me laugh and exactly when I need to. That's my favorite thing.
She is an absolutely wonderful mother. Just one of the best human beings I know, cares about everybody around her. And just how much you know about things. Like she reads like no one I've ever met. And so I love the intellect and the compassion that you have. Probably my two main things. And you're ridiculously funny.
Oh, your answers are so nice.
Wait for it.
No, like it's just so nice.
Wait for it.
What I love about him is very similar, that he's an awesome dad. I love that he's got such a quirky sense of humor that whatever situation you're in, he just makes it fun and goofy, even when it's not supposed to be fun and goofy.
Thanks for listening to our special interview with 4 of our amazing teacher couples. This is Connor Dunn, Aiden Beaumarriage, and Nolan Novotny with the Lovejoy News Network.
We hope you enjoyed these stories. Until next time, I'm Christian Giordano. And remember, if there's a story to find, we'll find it here on Leopard Spotlight.